You're listening to the Journey Podcast. What if prioritizing health and fitness wasn't a challenge, but a choice? Find out more in this episode. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Journey Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. In this episode, we delve into the empowering journey of prioritizing health and fitness, discovering how these essential aspects of our well-being can be integrated into our busy lives. Through our exploration, we uncover the transformative shifts that allow us to view health and fitness not as chores, but as attainable additions to our daily routines. As we navigate the realm of prioritizing health and fitness, we explore practical strategies and insights that enable us to cultivate a harmonious balance between our demanding schedules and our well-being goals. We delve into how simple shifts in perspective and lifestyle can pave the way for consistent, sustainable habits that contribute to our physical, mental, and emotional vitality. Amanda Place is the founder of Sculptrition, who specializes in health and fitness coaching and has been in the industry for over a decade. Known for delivering sustainable weight loss results to busy women all over the world, she consistently sends out the message that diets and quick fixes don't work in the long term and can help you optimize your health without feeling overwhelmed. Let's meet Amanda Place. Hi, Amanda. It's so great to have you on the podcast today. I've been looking forward to getting to chat with you because how to prioritize health and fitness is such an important topic when it comes to mental health and holistic healing. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It's my absolute pleasure to have you here today. Do you want to start us off by sharing a little bit about yourself and your own story and how you came to do what you do today?
Yeah, so I'm actually originally from Canada, but I live in the UK now. Grew up in Canada my whole life, came from a big dance background and kind of did, the normal school and actually went off to university. And I had got a degree in kinesiology to kind of further pursue my love for, with dance and put into health and fitness. And then from there, however, kind of the real world kicked in and had to get a job. And at the time, there was a big recession in Calgary, where I'm from. So I went to the corporate route and went into HR. And so did that for a little bit. But in order to keep my health and fitness and kind of my dance background, I got a certificate in group fitness instructing. So I was able to teach strength classes and cardio classes at the National Gym. And then, believe it or not, I actually met my now husband, and he's from England, which is why I'm in the UK now. And so I moved in about 2019. And from there, I was able to kind of get out of that corporate world and have the opportunity to pursue what I really wanted to do. And so I went back to school, got my health and nutrition coaching diploma. And then come 2021, I launched Sculptrition, which is my health and fitness coaching business. And so basically what I do is I help women typically in the corporate world, but even as well as moms, working professionals, kind of help them transform their health, but without the overwhelm. So, and to explain how I'm able to do that based on even my personal experience, what I didn't mention was that, yes, I was in, health and fitness background, but I struggled starting with my teen years all the way up until the pandemic with disordered eating and using exercise as a punishment, and really had just a bad relationship with food. And I started with anorexia, went to bulimia, which then transpired into binge eating and just, really unsustainable exercise schedules. And it wasn't until the COVID pandemic happened, actually, is when I really had the time and space to take a look at my health and prioritize what I needed to and make the mindset shift that was really important and kind of the most transformative part into making those changes. And I was able to lose almost 50 pounds, which is about 25 kilograms, or if you're in the UK, that's about 3.5 stone. And I've kept all of it off since then. So lost that weight, have kept it off since. And then now I help women achieve the same thing through my one-to-one coaching programs and fitness membership.
Wow, what a journey. And thank you for sharing that with us. I believe that a lot of the listeners can relate to what you have gone through and where you're at now. So thanks for sharing that. Now, what are some of the challenges and struggles that you see with your clients, maybe physically and even mentally, when they come to you and tell you, Amanda, look, I need some help with my health and fitness? What are some of the challenges that you see around that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, and it's with this kind of current day and age, I think we're just moving at such a rapid pace with kind of the hustle culture, at least for women. And even if you're just a full-time mom, even just, getting the conflicting advice of what being a good parent is, having to be there all the time, be there for your partners. We're getting pulled in all different directions. And at the same time, we're just getting pumped with all this information that we don't know even whether it's valid or it's not, telling us what to do, what we should do, eat this, don't eat that. And it gets really overwhelming to the point where we just kind of get paralyzed and then don't actually start. And so a lot of the times when women come to me, they've kind of reached their breaking point. They just say, look, I've tried either every diet or fitness program under the sun, yet I still, and I've done every diet, but nothing sticks. I'm either the heaviest I've ever been or the most unhealthiest I've ever been. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I have no time for myself. I barely have time for my work or my kids or to do anything else. And I just need something for me and in order to improve my quality of life. And a lot of the times it's not even, about the weight loss. It's actually about, I get told a lot of, I don't want to be, stick thin, or accept I'm not going to be looking this certain way, but they just want to feel healthy again. They just want to feel having that energy when they wake up in the morning rather than relying on 3 cups of coffee by 9 a.m. And they want to be able to actually want to go out for a walk rather than feel like it's a burden. And they want to be able to also go out to eat at restaurants and eat in moderation rather than feeling like they can't eat anything and then go home and binging after. So I think the main thing is they come to me really struggling with an imbalance in their life. And they're looking for that balance and easy, simple ways in order to achieve it and keep it sustainable in the long term.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I do feel that a lot of people, and women in particular, are quite overwhelmed at this point. And maybe that's also a remnant from the pandemic, but there's this huge overwhelm with everything that's happening and all the responsibilities that we have. So it is hard to find a balance and fit any kind of exercise or fitness in there as well, on top of everything else. So that makes sense to me. Now, we started out, I think, a few years ago, probably learning that don't eat sugar, don't eat fat, and in fact, just eat as little as you can and exercise a lot and you'll lose a lot of weight. Is that a myth? I mean, there probably is a much better way to go about becoming healthy and fit. And so what are some of those myths around health and fitness that you have come across?
Yeah, I think some of, like you said, like sugar is, all evil, that you have to exercise, or sweat in your workouts in order for it to count. That's another big one. And I deal with that a lot. And even as well, having a certain amount of carbs in a day, having a certain low fat diets. I think that's the biggest thing. Is the common myth is really the diets that are getting bombarded in, the media and in articles, et cetera. And even the fitness programs as well. It's one thing is saying, do this much HIIT in order to lose this amount of weight, or, do this kind of cycling program and you'll achieve this. And all the kind of overriding factor that happens is these kind of myths and even just all these assumptions in general. What works for one person will not necessarily work for you. And when it comes to, I find with food and even fitness as well, is that we can't rule anything out. Because let's say, for example, sugar is truly, the root of all evil and you can never eat it. You can technically still lose. Let's say if you ate, let's go to simple, actual healthier sugars, like in an apple. If you ate 1,200 calories of an apple in a day, you'd actually lose weight, right? But is that, even if it's all apples, is that necessarily the most healthy? Probably not, because you'll get more energy spikes, you'll have high glucose levels. You can even also lose weight on 1,200 calories of cake as well. But with those refined sugars, you'll even feel more sluggish, more tired, get more of those energy crashes and feel just as bad. So when it comes to the food myths, I really like to break that no food is bad, no food is good. What's happening is that we're getting convinced of these labels and we're putting the labels on it and then truly believing that and then sticking to it. But all that's happening is we're just creating more food rules and restricting ourselves more. And what that actually happens with your brain from a neurological perspective is when you give yourself a rule of saying, do not have that cake. What happens is, if you remember when you were a child, or if you even have a kid at home, anytime you tell your child, do not touch that hot stove or do not touch this, what usually happens? 9 times out of 10, they stick their finger out and they go and touch it. Because what's actually happening is your brain doesn't register the do not part. It only registers the verb, so the eat. So anytime you're giving a rule saying you can't eat sugar or can't eat fats or can't eat bread, as soon as you give that rule, it might last for a little bit of time. And then you're going to start thinking about that food. Then you're going to start obsessing over it. You're going to see it everywhere. And then eventually, because you can't, live without bread forever, even, sugars forever, you'll have a little bit of it, but then you'll probably end up engorging on it. And then you'll overeat, and then you're going to feel guilty. And then you're going to say, okay, let's back to square one or back to Monday. We start again and we go back on that restrict cycle. And all we're doing is restrict, binge, guilt, restrict, binge, guilt. And we just keep going along that vicious circle. And when it comes to fitness with the myths, the problem with telling of what's good and what's bad, how much to do, etc., it's not taking into account, your personal factors, which means what you actually like. So, some people absolutely love running, but they hate swimming. So if I give you a fitness program of 5 swimming sessions a week, you're going to absolutely hate it and you're not going to do it, right? And then you won't be working out at all. So it's a lose-lose situation. And so just because, one person likes running and that works for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And so it takes a bit of time to actually find out what you like and what you enjoy and what you're actually going to stick with. Because also what we talked about, like we mentioned, we're bombarded with, with all these different things. We don't have a lot of time for a lot of things, let alone for ourselves. And our time is valuable. It's the most valuable currency we have in this current society. And if we're spending time doing something we don't like, especially when it comes to a workout routine, we're going to be resentful and then we're just going to stop it and then never do it again. So when it comes to that myth, really, it's super important that you find out what you enjoy and what you can actually stick to and starting simple and then building up from there rather than taking on a huge fitness routine, going from 0 to 100 and then backing out and then giving up altogether.
Yeah, I can see how that can create some challenges in people's lives to go about it that way. I also do feel that as women, we have maybe some additional things to deal with, like our hormones, especially, for example, when we move into sort of the later parts of life or menopause and beyond that a lot of the diets and fitness advice don't seem to work anymore. Is that something that you find with your clients as well, that hormones can definitely affect the way that you deal with your health and fitness?
Yes, absolutely. And so I do have quite a few clients who come who are menopausal as well. And they usually come to me because the medical system has failed them. Luckily, I think in the last couple of years, at least in the UK, there's been a huge surge in kind of awareness in menopause, which is amazing because women are finally starting to feel heard in that area of life, but it's still difficult. And so, they follow this diet that guarantees them, lose this amount of weight or gain this amount of muscle, and it doesn't work. And it's, because it's individual to them and they're not going to have the same response to that nutrition plan or to that workout routine that a 25-year-old is going to have. It's going to be completely different. And we have to take those considerations into account, which is why a personalized approach is always the best key in working with someone one-to-one rather than just jumping on the latest kind of diet fad bandwagon. And even, with hormones, yes, menopause is definitely affected, but there's different types of, conditions that come into play as well. Even autoimmune diseases are a big one. And then they can also cause higher susceptibility to injuries as well. So you have to take that into account. So even, these fitness plans and diets, if you're not getting the right nutrients based on, your current hormone levels or the conditions that you have or injuries that you're experiencing, you can actually just exacerbate your condition and make it worse. So first and foremost, it's definitely important to get all kind of your right, body metrics and your, blood work and hormone levels and know where you're at so you can get the proper help that you need going forward.
Yeah, that's some really great advice. And I do feel like a lot of women find themselves in a situation where they may need a lot more individual help than just sort of general things they could find online. So that's really great that you work with them on that level as well. Now, You talked a little bit about balance before, achieving this balance with health and fitness. So in your opinion, what are some of those key pillars that are really important to supporting both physical and mental health and having that healthy lifestyle?
Yeah, so there's three pillars that I personally live by and kind of, implement and also help my clients implement. And I also do it kind of in most important order as well. So, and I'll name them first and I'll get a bit into each and every one of them. So the first one is mindset, and then the second is nutrition, and the third is movement. So why I put mindset at the first and foremost is because that's actually the pillar that's going to be the most crucial into initiating the change and actually maintaining it. Now, if you look at any sort of, nutrition plans or fitness plans, or even any kind of sort of like some of the holistic and wellness plans I've seen, a lot of the time it only addresses the nutrition, the movement part, and it never addresses the mindset. And I think from a business model perspective, that's kind of smart, because then you're going to keep people coming and you're going to have people needing to change, kind of falling off and having to start again. Where kind of I come in and maybe, from a business model perspective, it's not the most popular, but I'm in the business of helping people, not, filling my pockets. And so I really stand by addressing where you come from, how you got to where you are, and learning from that, and then using that to move you forward. And that's what I did in my personal journey. So like I said, when I struggled with about a decade of yo-yo dieting, using exercise as a punishment, went through the spectrum of all the disordered eatings, kind of as soon as I, fixed one, it led to another. And that was because I didn't address how I actually thought about myself, what I was actually doing it for, and what I actually wanted. So yes, I was, teaching group fitness and, having a health and fitness degree, but what did I want out of that? And did I actually see myself as a person who identified as someone who is healthy and fit? Was I appreciative of how my body, was able to move and take care of itself and wanting to nourish itself? In a way, I was kind of, punishing it. And when I look back now, it's a lot of the time I look back into my family background, and it definitely, and you don't want to blame your parents or anything like that, but you do have to see the context where you come from. And that's what I had to do. I just ignored it for so long, for 10 years long. And then I finally realized, we're actually looking at my family background. My mom was a yo-yo dieter and still is. We had really big, food portions. I come from an Italian family. And so even just knowing what was, good food and bad food, like how my portion sizes, like it was completely skewed because I wasn't, taught. And so, and I didn't really want to teach myself. I just, instead of addressing that, I just kind of went along, continued my story that this is the way you eat, and this is the way you handle food. This is the way you handle exercise. And it wasn't until the pandemic happened and then I had to sit there and actually recalibrate and think, okay, what am I actually doing this for? And do I actually want to prioritize myself and my health finally, and look into my past, and rather than be angry about it and put the blame on, my past and my context, I took a personal responsibility for it. And then I took the power back in my hands to make that change forward. And I think that's the most important thing. So if you're, listening, just taking a look back at your own context, what was the relationship with food when you were a kid? What were some eating habits that your family had, that you had growing up? Was fitness or any type of movement prioritized when you were growing up, even in early adulthood? If you're in your older years, how was that relationship with all of it? And look back at it kind of and accept it and learn from it, and then choose what you want to do moving forward, which I find is the biggest thing. And sometimes it's the stickiest thing, and it's actually really hard because when you have to do that inner work, I'm sure you can agree, it's hard. It's not easy, like reflecting and seeing maybe things that you've done wrong or that you might need to change, or challenging your thoughts. It can be really hard in the beginning, but it's just the beginning. Once you keep doing it and just bit by bit, it gets easier. And then those mental habits can then transform just like your physical ones. And then it just kind of moves ahead. So that's kind of the groundbreaking, the really most important foundation to do. And then nutrition is really important in the sense that even aside from weight loss, you do want to have a well-balanced diet. Yeah, not just for the weight loss, but for, having balanced energy levels, being able to take care of your kids, take care of your career, take care of yourself. If you're kind of having, a diet of prepackaged meals and high refined sugar content and maybe drinking more alcohol than usual, you're really going to feel the effects, and you're never just going to feel quite right. You're just always going to feel a bit sluggish. You're always going to feel a bit you're just not at your full optimal function. And so when you're filling yourself with, good foods and you're hydrating and having full balanced meals, it works wonders. And kind of an easy hack to do if you're kind of listening to this and you're like, Amanda, I'm working in corporate. I don't even have time to like make a 5-minute breakfast, let alone make my own lunches and dinners. Let's just keep it simple. So whether you're even out to eat or you're making your own meals, when you have a plate, you want to have a few things on that plate. So if you can imagine like a circle in front, you want to have a third of a slow release carbohydrate, which is like whole grain rice, bread, pasta, couscous, quinoa, even some starchy foods like sweet potato, baked potato, that type thing. That's going to help you keep your glucose levels nice and stable. Also is going to give you some energy for the brain because that's a preferred food source. Then another third of your plate is going to be fruits and or veggies. So think, berries, broccoli, carrots, apples, bananas, all that kind of stuff, because that's going to give you all the vitamins and minerals that you need and also will help you stay fuller for longer. It has really good fiber content as well. Then another third of your plate is going to be a protein source. So think your chicken, fish, beef. If you're vegetarian or vegan, think chickpeas, nut butters, tempeh, miso, that type thing. And that's going to also keep you fuller for longer. And it's also your muscles' preferred source of food because that's what helps you build the building blocks for your muscle cells. So they love that. And then you want a little bit drizzle of some healthy fat. So think olive oil, avocado, cheese, that type, even like seeds and nut butters too. And again, helps with keeping you fuller for longer. And also that's it, the hormones, it helps with hormone production and synthesis and keeping your hormones balanced. So if you're one of those people that are kind of struggling with keeping, hormones balanced or even going through the menopause, having those healthy fats in are really important. So whether you're out to eat at a restaurant or you're, at a shop, like at a Starbucks or something, or you're making your meals at home, see if you can try to get as similar to that in a plate as you possibly can. And that's really important. That's just kind of an easy hack to do to help you stay full and keep your nutrition balanced throughout the day. And then the movement is the third one. And why I call it movement is because I find sometimes the words like workout or fitness or exercise can also be a trigger word for some people. And even for me, it was too. And so why I want to say movement is because, like I mentioned, any movement counts. It doesn't have to be a high intensity, sweaty HIIT workout for it to count. Even an outdoor walk with your dogs for 10 minutes counts. Even taking the stairs instead of the elevator or the lift for that one floor counts. And the more we can prioritize that movement, then again, the more we're going to keep our muscles moving, prevent any muscle deterioration, also helps with our productivity levels. So this is a really popular one I do with my corporate clients where they have such a sluggish kind of afternoon at 2-3 o'clock. I say, go for, a quick 10-minute walk, even if they're in the office inside or even outside, and their energy level is just kind of surged up. It's so much more. They have a little burst of energy. And that's because you're getting oxygen back into your muscles. We're not meant as humans to be sitting at a desk from 9 to 5. That's not what we were made for. And that's not in evolution what we were made to be. Yet our society has kind of made us that way. And so we need to kind of do those little, quick hacks to keep us into how we were 10,000 years ago when we were roaming on the savannah. So that's why I prioritize just movement in general. So it doesn't have to be, if you're not working out currently, that's okay. Just start really simple with a 5-minute walk, and then you build up from there. And then even if you are doing workouts already, then even don't think that you have to increase the time to, 45 minutes or an hour if you're at half an hour. See what you can do in that time frame and optimize it from there. Could you do extra reps or sets or heavier weights when you're doing strength training? Could you, do a bit like the more higher intensity options? So example, if you're doing a jumping jack, actually jump instead of doing, keeping it low impact. There's so many things you can do with movement within a certain time frame rather than kind of elongating and feeling like you're having to spend more and more time. You can definitely kind of make it into a little bundled effect. So if you address all those 3 pillars, then you can definitely make the changes that you want and actually maintain it and keep it sustainable, which is the most important thing.
Amazing. Thank you so much for all those tips. I think our listeners just learned a whole bunch of things that they can apply in their own lives starting right now. that will help them probably organize their day a little bit better as well if they know what they're looking out for. So thank you so much for sharing that. And you also mentioned before that one of the things you see people do is trying to change too many things too quickly, and then nothing really works. So are there some other things that people should look out for? Maybe some things they shouldn't be doing when it comes to health and fitness and incorporating that into their lives, making ththose changes?
Yeah, if it's all going to stick, the biggest thing really is just keep it simple. Yeah, keep it simple and easy to the point where when you're thinking of this action plan, so let's put into example, you want to start going on walks Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? So to keep it even simpler and easier, it doesn't have to be, half an hour. Make it 5 minutes. And if 5 minutes to you seems that's too easy to do, you start with that. Because the most important thing in keeping habits maintained and established is the consistency, and you have to show up for it. So rather than committing to, half an hour, just make it 5 minutes. Because then the more you keep doing it, then you'll be able to add on a bit more, get it to 10, then get it to 15, and then to 20, and then to 30. And maybe even that 3 days a week is also a lot. Just start with Monday and then go from there. And once you have that first week down, see if you can try and do Monday, Wednesday, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And let's say, you realize maybe 3 days a week is too much. You just go back to Wednesday. I think that's another problem with the kind of bombardment we get is you have to do a lot. It has to be really hard and it has to be really, complex. But as humans, in order for us to do anything, we want to, have a reward from it. If we think it's, punishing or hard or difficult, it's unlikely we're going to do it again. So keep it easy, keep it simple, and then build up from there. I think that's the biggest mistake I see is we just want to add too many things and we get that overwhelm and paralysis. So just strip it back, keep it as simple as possible. And you'll know that it's the right action to do. If you ask yourself, is this too easy to do? If that's a yes, you got to go with that. And then you can build up from there.
Amazing. That's some great advice. And I hope that it helps our listeners get into a health and fitness routine that works for them. And like you said, that they can stick to through those points. So do you want to maybe share some of your programs and services at this point with our listeners so they could get a feel of how they could connect with you if they wanted to work with you? We've heard some great advice from you and some of the pillars that they should be looking at. And how can they connect and work with you now?
Yeah, so I do have my own website, which is sculptrition.com. So SCULPTRITION. And so you can contact me on there and kind of has my list of services. I mainly focus on one-to-one health coaching. And so I offer 3 or 6 months programs based on what you're going through and how much help you might need in your health and fitness journey. So that's an option for you. And then I also do personal training. So if you're in the England, Southeast Kent area, I do have my own personal private gym. But even if you're online, absolutely fine. I do it all online as well. And then if you're just looking for the kind of fitness aspect, I do offer a online fitness membership that offers online live fitness classes as well as on-demand workouts and a great community group. So it's all female-based, kind of women just like you going through the same thing. And we have a really good community, them, kind of sharing the ups and the downs they go through. We do the classes together. It's a really awesome kind of starting point community for people, especially if you're starting out in the gym or maybe you're a bit intimidated to go to the gym and the gym's actually an obstacle for you to get there. Then come join us. So you can do it from your own home and you really have that personalized aspect to it where it's more, I keep the maximum, class size about 3 to 4. So that way it's really, personalized. You're not just a number. And then you can get the proper, feedback and have that great class feel without the intimidation. And we've got loads of different options like yoga, Pilates, strength, cardio, Tabata. So we have lots to choose from. And then in that membership as well, you'll get monthly recipes to try that are healthy, as well as a supplement bundle when you join. And as well, we do lots of kind of, awards and kind of gifts and kind of challenges and stuff. We have monthly workout programs that you can try and do on your own. So if you want kind of just the first stepping block, that's a really good option. But if you're looking for the kind of more one-to-one bespoke service and you kind of need that help, to get you back on track, then you can definitely contact me for the one-to-one coaching. And so, yeah, as I said, you can see me on my website at sculptrition.com, but I'm also on all the social media platforms. So I'm really active on Instagram, but I'm also on Facebook, as well as TikTok and Pinterest. So it's at Sculptrition. And then if you're in corporate, you can also see me on LinkedIn at Amanda Plays.
Amazing. And we will be linking to all of Amanda's offerings in the show notes as well. So be sure to check there for all of the links on how you can connect with her. And of course, her services on the website. You can check those out there as well. Well, this has been another incredible episode, and I really hope our listeners have enjoyed this journey into how to prioritize health and fitness as much as I have. It has been fantastic chatting with you on the podcast today, Amanda, and thank you so much for sharing all this wisdom with us today. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And for all the listeners out there, just know that you are seen, and just keep it easy, keep it consistent, and you can achieve anything you want to.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Take care, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Journey podcast, please support us by subscribing, sharing on social media, and leaving us a review. We appreciate you. And you can find more of The Journey on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website, thejourney.com. Sending you love and courage, and see you next time.